What's up, y'all? This is Josiah back with another reaction, y'all, from the Fat Bags Podcast. I got another reaction for y'all. But before we get in this reaction, y'all, please hit that like button and subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers by the end of this month. So please do and share it with your family, friends, whoever you see on the street, whoever. Just tell them to subscribe to the Fat Man's Podcast. So I got a reaction for y'all from JESSELEEPETERSON. I said I'm gonna do like two of them. I might just do two. I'm kind of tired. So the reaction name is Heated Debate. Pastor guest supports critical race theory. Today I searched up like 3-5 videos. I read about it. I still don't get it at all. I really don't. I think okay, this is what I saw. Critical race theory is this a system, or the systemic racism. That's all I got from it, to be honest. Y'all want to teach it about, y'all want to teach it in schools and stuff like that. And I guess some white people and some black people don't agree with it because it's just teaching that white people are evil, inherently evil, which I don't agree with it. I don't agree with critical race theory. I think we good. You know what I mean? They always trying to bring back this racism stuff, man. I'm telling you, when all these old heads die off, like these people that's like 70, 80 years old, racism won't be as prominent as it is. It won't. It's like most of them old people that have slavery stuff, and that's why slavery don't happen no more. Stuff like that. Like, you know, people change their minds. So black people getting tired of it. Some black people getting tired of it. Some white people getting tired of it. You know what I mean? We all together now, like, but these old people still want to believe all this stuff. It says a system and stuff like that. Okay, whatever. But yeah, let's get in this video and see what the pasta talking about.
Do you support critical race theory?
It's probably 2 or 3 books on them right here behind me. Yeah, matter of fact, there's one right there I'm looking at. There's a few books on them right here.
So you support that?
I guess theory, I don't know what you mean by support it. You'd have to be more specific than that.
Do you believe that the educational system, the American companies, businesses should be teaching people that all white people are racist, and that they're inherently born that way? They can't help that race, white privilege, and all that. Should that be taught about white people in schools and in businesses, in government business and private businesses around the country?
So that we have 2 different appreciations of what critical race theory is. When I hear the term critical race theory, it takes me back to law school, and it takes me back to doctrines that are wholly inconsistent with what you have shared.
But I'm asking you, should that be taught that white people are naturally racist and that they have white privilege? Should that be taught?
I don't think that any person is naturally racist. I fundamentally disagree with that. I fundamentally disagree. I learned a long time ago, you don't answer a question holistically if it's piecemeal together. So you have to forgive me, but you're asking a very provocative question.
The president said that he's not going to allow them to teach that critical race theory in schools and in businesses, government businesses, about white privilege or white systemic racism and all that crap. He's not going to allow that to happen because it's wrong to do that to any race. Do you support that?
So I think fundamentally, we live in a society.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, I do think it's wrong for that too. Even have it to another race, I think it's still wrong.
Society where it's absolutely unconscionable to say that there is no such thing as ethnic privilege or white privilege. That's a historic fact.
What is white privilege? So
I never understood. Yeah, okay, probably back in the day, but I never understood. Do you believe it now? Like, you gotta think about. I'm not. I wasn't born in them times. I'm just talking about now. I don't believe it. I didn't got anything I wanted. You know what I mean? By just working hard for it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't believe in white privilege. You know what I mean? And I probably would never believe in it. And I never understood why a black person, a black man, or black woman that are so successful still talking about white privilege. I never understood it. But that's how they make their money. I believe that's because they make their money somehow, some way.
However, the question as you posed as whites being naturally racist, I fundamentally disagree with that in the most profound way. I don't think there's any such thing as a fundamental racist. Racism is something that is learned. Racism is something that comes about based on experience, not something that I think is immutable.
Should it be taught that there's white privilege?
In order to understand problems, and in order to, and I work very much at racial reconciliation in ministry and otherwise, in order to understand problems, you've got to come to the table, and an academic environment is a space where, again, you don't have to agree, but you don't have to be disagreeable because you can't agree on things, but it's an intellectual laboratory. It's the marketplace of ideas. It's a place where you come and you can exchange and grow, even if you differ of opinion, but you grow based on someone else's perspective.
Should it be taught that white privilege exists? Should that be taught?
There very much so is a such thing as white privilege. It has existed forever.
Should that be taught that white privilege exists?
I don't.
Tiptoe. He tipping around the question, man. Yes or no?
I don't want to answer the question just, I mean, it's not a yes or no thing, because if you're going to teach that, you've got to teach a lot more to go along with unpacking that. Otherwise, it's taken completely out of context and it makes no sense. And I can't just answer a limited question.
What if we just stop talking about it? We could go back, we could talk about slavery and stuff like that, but what if we just stop talking about racism? We just stop talking about just different races? I mean, what would, do you think that'd be like, you think that'd be helpful or something like that, y'all? I don't know.
Question like that. That's not who I am.
White people didn't make up racist. I hope people know that. Like, you could do your research. It's from Portugal, to be honest, but you can do your research.
So you can't tell me if that should be taught or not.
I think we need to have more dialogue on race. I will absolutely say that.
But how about white privilege? Should that be taught?
Based on what happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin, based on what happened in Louisville, Kentucky, with the grand jury refusing to indict Breonna Taylor's killers, based on what happened in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with Alton Sterling, based on what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, with Michael Brown, based on what happened in Staten Island, New York,
did that happen because of white privilege?
There obviously are implicit biases. There obviously are fundamental differences in perception. We obviously have got major race disconnects in the United States of America. And if we refuse to talk about them, we will only continue to regress. We will never as a nation progress and make progress.
So you just read off all the names of the thugs and the criminals and people who've been attacked by cops because they disobeyed the cops or whatever.
And you describe Breonna, but forgive me, you describe Breonna Taylor as a thug, as someone who was in her own home,
with a drug dealer,
not on the street, not doing anything with thug-like, as you call it, in her own home,
with
and
a drug
someone comes in with a no-knock warrant and kills her in her own home.
It was a no-knock.
But you describe her as a thug.
No-knock.
You describe her as a
no-knock.
And she's in her own home.
You're being dishonest.
You describe Michael Brown as a thug.
But you're being dishonest.
You describe Alton Sterling as a thug.
Hey, as
you
a
describe
reverend.
Jason Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, a brother who was with his young children, taking one of them to a birthday party.
He was wanted for
trying to get in his car.
He was wanted for the abuse of a woman. But let me ask, Breonna was in the house with a drug addict person.
How could you possibly, in good conscience, holistically describe that class of individuals that I named? How could you, in good conscience, describe them as thugs?
Because I love what's right, and I know the truth.
Expressing their First Amendment rights, freedom of assembly. Not even Breonna Taylor; she was in her own apartment.
But you're not being honest when you said it was
these are people who were expressing their own fundamental rights to assemble in different places.
But you're not being honest.
Killed for no justifiable reason.
That's not true.
We have fundamental differences of opinion,
but you're not being honest.
America,
it wasn't
we can have fundamental differences of opinion, but again, we don't have to agree and we don't have to be disagreeable.
You're gonna
we have some baseline fundamental differences of opinion.
But you're not being honest. That was not a
no not warrant. Completely honest.
No,
I'm being anything. I'm being absolutely honest.
Not warrant.
She was killed in her home after the warrant was executed.
With a drug addict person.
After the warrant was executed,
but it was not
shot.
I
don't think he was a drug dealer. I don't think he was a drug addict. I think he was a drug dealer, wasn't he? I believe that. Yeah, tell me, I think he was a drug dealer.
Many times.
It was not a
in her
warrant.
own home.
Let me ask you.
And I described her living accommodation or her living situation in response to you calling her a thug.
Do you believe in liberation?
Which I believe is unconscionable.
Do you believe all these people that you people are protected are no good people, but you're leaving that out?
Tell me, who are you people?
I've
heard that term before, but I'm not sure what it means.
You black people who are mentioning about the so-called abusive cop, but you're not saying that these people that are being hurt or affected by cops are no good people. They're criminals, they're thugs, they're living in with drug addicts or all that. You're leaving all that part out to give the false impression that the white cops just have nothing else to do but to go out and kill a black. And that's not fair. It's not right. And as a minister, you
besides keeping his knee on the neck of George Floyd for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
He was on drugs.
Nothing else to do.
He was on drugs.
That is not restraint. That's not reasonable restraint. That's 8 minutes and 46 seconds to kill someone.
No, he wanted to.
That is not reasonable. It's not conscionable. It's outright unright. It's outright unjust.
You're not being honest.
That cop is
the thug.
You're
not being honest.
That cop who killed George Floyd is the thug.
That's not true. That's not true. But let me move on. Do you believe in black liberation theology?
Yes, sir.
You do. Do you love white people?
I love all people.
How about
until
white
I have
people?
A reason not to.
Do you love white people?
I love all people until I have a reason not to.
Do you love white people?
I love all people.
Why is it so hard for people to answer that question? I never understood. Do you love white people? Just because you say yes don't mean you love nobody else but white people. Like, come on now.
Categorically.
How about
unless I have let me specify. Unless I have a reason not to love a particular person, my fundamental disposition is to love all people.
Do you love white people?
I love all people.
Do you support Black Lives?
You know, it's okay. You could say I love all people, but when it comes to like, you would say if he would ask you, I love black people, you would say yes. That's crazy. Well, I see you about to say BLM. Do you support BLM?
Matter.
Yes.
Even though they're a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians who hate God, who hate the nuclear family, who are trained to be Marxists, they hate the unborn children. They want to turn America into a socialist society. Everything about them is evil. As a reverend, you still support them?
I dare not make those sort of globalistic comparisons or comments about people.
They
dare
said
not
about
make
themselves.
I dare not make those sort of globalistic.
No, but the nuclear family thing is right. They did have that on their website.
About themselves.
Categorizations about individuals.
They said
what
about
I do know
themselves.
is that I support a movement. I recognize fundamentally that all lives matter. But as a result of what happened to Breonna Taylor, and as a result of how Kentucky's Attorney General undermined her character, I recognize that people must speak out and speak truth to power in the fact that Black lives must matter too.
So it doesn't matter that
if there's a such thing as value in human life, Black lives must matter too.
So it doesn't matter to you as a reverend that they are fat, radical black lesbians?
We are all God's children, brother. I profoundly disagree with some of the things you said, but I'm not going to turn around and talk about you when we finish this interview.
We're not all God's children. Only those who have been born again are God's children. God created all, but all are not his children. Some belong to Satan.
All right, y'all. That's in the video, y'all. I still understand what critical race theory means. I don't think we should teach it in our schools at all, to be honest. I mean, unless you go to college, like most of that stuff, like critical race theories in college. I mean, if you go to college, I guess. I mean, it's up to you if you want to learn about that. I think you should have it. I think you should have it right. I think you should have it right where you can, you know, it shouldn't just be taught up in like history class. You know what I mean? You should have a decision of what you want to learn or not, like in college, and that'd be cool with me. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have to. I'm not saying you should not teach it. I mean, I guess I don't know anything about it, so I'm still confused about it. So I don't think you should teach it to our K to 12 kids at all, to be honest. But hey, y'all tell me, before we end it off, please hit that like button, subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers by end of this month. And please share this video with whoever you see, and whoever you see, your family, friends, whoever you see on the street, just tell them to subscribe to Osiris. Tell them to subscribe to the Fat Man's Podcast with Osiris. And y'all tell me what y'all think about this video. I mean, y'all tell me what y'all think about critical race theory. You know what I mean? I still don't understand it. So maybe y'all can explain it to me. You know what I mean? But hey, y'all, Osiris is out from the Fat Man's Podcast, and I'll see you guys on the next one.